tip.
Good afternoon. It is April 4th, 2018. You're listening to a Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by Will Limonos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. Man, it's been a while, but we're back. How you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? We are back.
Yeah, did people still remember what this is? It's a podcast, Little Column A, Little Column B, Bishop, Limonos, da-da-da. We talk sports, other ridiculous topics. We make little short whiteboard videos, and we make bets. We make bets. We take chances on the show. And let's just start off.
I think the correct phrasing would be you take risks. On this podcast.
Oh, they're not calculated risks for me. They're only calculated for you.
I don't know. It seems to be the calculations are in my favor.
Well, once again, March Madness was a phenomenal tournament. Congratulations to Villanova for being one of the most dominant offenses I have ever seen in college basketball. I don't think the team, like, head to toe was as superior at each position or really outmatched everyone, but their offense, there wasn't a team in the league that was going to outscore them in March. So I credit them. I'm curious to see if you agree with that. Do you think they were as dominant, or are you going to be Mr. ACC over here?
No, they were super dominant. They won every game they played by 12 plus points. They were in the more difficult side of the bracket. It wasn't like they went in and they had to play, an 11 seed and a 12 seed or an upset. It's like they pretty much played exactly, I would say a traditional path that a 1 seed has to play. They covered the spread for all 6 games, so I find that to be impressive. So they even outdid the Vegas expectations for them. That game that they played against Kansas didn't stand a chance. I mean, they had already hit it was like six or 8 3-pointers before Kansas had even attempted a 3-pointer. It was just an absolute beatdown. And then last night, at the beginning of the game, when Michigan was up by a little bit, it just seemed like Villanova was going to take over at any moment. They weren't playing very well. They hadn't hit any threes, and they were still only down by like 3 points. It's like, ooh,
they didn't look
this is
panicked
get
at
bad.
all. I felt panicked as being a very confident person in Villanova, being like, oh, wow, I haven't seen Villanova like really take a punch. They've been just throwing them out one after another after another. Like the Kansas game was unreal. I didn't think you know what else is funny? I think if you look at Kansas and their strategy going into that game, they did everything they wanted. I felt like they got a lot of easy baskets down low. They kind of grinded it out.
The big guy, Azumbuke.
And he had a presence. He was making a difference. I think they had some people in foul trouble. They think they executed their plan. They just couldn't keep up the pace. I mean, Villanova, they're hitting tough shots, and everyone in their half court offense is so fast. Everyone is in attack mode. Everybody can shoot. Everybody has a quick shot, and somehow, like even against Kansas, they managed to get a bunch of offensive rebounds with all these long shots. They got all the long rebounds.
They just, I think you said it. I don't remember if you said it yet. Last night or this morning, it just dominant. It's just the only word for it. Just dominant in both their runs.
Well, congratulations to Villanova. I'm sure there's a lot more to talk about there, but for now, let's get back into our little gambling situation here. Zach and I make a wager every year, every March Madness. Last year, I lost in the first annual Little Column A, Little Column B podcast bracket challenge, and I had to run a high heel race, a 100-meter dash in high heels. Very embarrassing, very punishing, and unfortunately, it is going to be a repeat of last year. I did lose the bracket challenge again this year, and I am now going to have to shave my legs and participate in a pickup basketball game in the near future. Now, our current pickup court is under construction right now, so I'm saying we stall this until the new court is in kind of ready to go. Otherwise, I don't think it'll be nearly as embarrassing or as punishing if I end up doing it in front of a smaller crowd or at least around people I don't know. It should be with my group of basketball guys and on like a Saturday morning or something like that. And that's just going to have to wait at least about a month right now until the court is completely finished. And we'll have a brand new court. This will be the first time I touch the court. Will be on and in short shorts.
I was very willing, and I was very happy to comply with that request, because even though you're in California, in a month it'll be even warmer and you'll be more likely to be wearing shorts just casually all the time. So I was very happy to comply.
So, also with winning not only the head to head matchup between Zach and I, Zach also won the entire bracket. He beat every one of you. All 88 of us lost to Zach Bishop, who threatened and said and claimed, I'm going to win. And confidently said it on this. We have the record. We have it on. We have it on tape. Run it back, and he did just that. Very impressive run. But how did Duke do again? Did they win? They didn't win.
They made it to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. That
Lost. Easily could have made it to the Final Four. Grayson Allen, quarter of an inch different on that final shot, and then they're going to the Final Four. And I would like to think that we would have played better against Villanova than Kansas did, but I mean, if you run up against a buzzsaw like that, but I would say that Duke was a top four team, and they're right on the edge of being in the Final Four. So that's pretty much about where you can't be too disappointed with something like that.
I
But I think
actually got
that I will look back on this year and kind of just be like, you see some Bagley highlights and just be like, really, you couldn't
I
do better than that this year.
I got a problem with the way they lost. They have one of the top best players in the league, and he didn't take the last shot. They let the little whiny kid take the shot who missed, and then they never gave again this guy named Bagley the ball the entire overtime. I don't know. Sometimes I don't like playing to my strengths, but I feel like in a moment like that, you have no choice. You got to get it to your best player. That's how you win games. That's how you win the
Well, I
close
think that
games.
Bill Self the whole game ran a really coached a really great game. He was doubling Bagley. He was making it so it was very difficult to get him the ball. And Bagley's a 6'11" power forward. He's not exactly the guy that you could just give it to him out on the perimeter and say, hey, here, please get a bucket. That's really more what Grayson Allen is better at. Always looking for him to get to Bagley, but I think Kansas specifically forced it. So that was, we really had to force it. And, it's always better to get a shot than to get no shot.
I'll agree with that. They did get a shot, and it was a makeable shot. I just think if Bagley has the ball right there, you have an easy road to the Final Four. I like my odds of him scoring one on one. Just you got to get it to him. So that is one regret I think Duke should have, and they'll have to wait till next year, of which they have a very, very,
Well,
very
since you
exciting.
brought up Duke, how did Syracuse do?
Like I don't want to talk about Syracuse. I'm going to continue to talk about Duke and talk about their class that they have coming in next year. Do you have
Oh
any
yes, oh good. Yes, I'm happy to talk about
do
this.
do you have any comments on that? This is going to be I don't know, on paper this looks crazy. This looks really impressive. I'm not going to call them the favorite right now, obviously chemistry issues, but I think they got Coach K, they got a pretty good program, and they got some talent coming in. How would you rank the talent level in comparison to the last couple of years or even in your lifetime? How excited are you for this upcoming class?
Well, with the 2018 season coming to a close, of course, there's a bunch of articles today. There's the way too early rankings. Vegas does have Duke as the favorite. They have the number 1, 2, 3 top recruits as well as the number 9 recruit. Um, it's just
It looks
there's
good.
definitely going to be a lot of talent. There's going to be a lot of talent. The same for a while now. There's a lot of talent. The same way that Kentucky has a lot of talent. These top blue blood programs get these elite guys, but since 2015, the last time Duke won, that's the last time a one and done team has won. They ran through the numbers last night. Both Michigan and Villanova, the past 4 years, the recruiting classes have been. It was like the late 30s, early 40s. So I don't know if having the number 1, 2, and 3 can just push you over the top, where we're just way too athletic, or is if we're just gonna find out that this one and done model, it's really tricky to try to get these guys to gel in 4 months, and you gotta, it's
It's
a
it's a lot of moving
you gotta
parts.
go on that 6 game winning streak at the end, and it's really tough. But I'm definitely excited about the guys coming in. We got Ty brother. He was on so Tyus Jones was a key contributor on the last championship team. He was a guy that called him Tyus Stones because he was not afraid of the big shot. Um, I think we've all seen what Zion can do. I have no idea how him playing against guys his same size will do. But man, if he gets out in the break, that is just fun to watch.
He's exciting. It's going to be a big year. So now you brought up Duke and a couple other programs, Kentucky being blue bloods or whatever. What did you say that like they're elite?
Yeah, Blue Bloods.
Now I saw a little thing saying, "Hey, Villanova's got a they got two championships in this kind of era right now. Are you going to give them the nod? Are they part of the group now? Are they in the Kansas, Duke, Kentucky? I'm sure I'm missing up. North Carolina. Are they part of the team? Are they in? Are they in the group now? Because they
They definitely have a little dynasty going right now. Definitely in the past 5 years, uh, they're at the top, the cream of the crop. Jay Wright joins Coach Krzyzewski and Coach Williams as the only active coaches to have multiple championships. But I mean, you got to remember, 3 years ago, before they went on their run, Jay Wright, the Villanova coach, he was looked at as this guy that was just a March choker. They would get to the tourney and you might pick them, but they were not. They were a laughing stock, and so we're a little bit prisoners of the moment of, hey, no, they figured out, they all got it, but in the past 7 years they've won two championships, but the other 5 years they didn't make it out of the second round.
Yep.
So
That
definitely championships are good.
that's where the
Here's the other
conversation
side of
comes
it.
in. Are we letting them in
Yeah.
the group or are we not? Like, are you guys? I don't want to drop names here, but are you the New York Giants or are you? Where are you?
Mhm.
I
And
don't know where to lean on that.
they're definitely going to lose Mikael Bridges, and they're probably going to lose Brunson to the NBA. But they got a top recruit coming in. I believe it's a point guard. I don't remember his first name. Last name is Quinterly. So I mean, there's a good chance that they could just reload and they're right back right back in it next year.
I thought there's no. I can't imagine a defense really working against their offense. They have so many different weapons. I watched so many times they would move the ball and they would either get an open shooter or they'd get some guy in like kind of the high post, and he'd like triple threat straight around the guy or make a post move and score or kick it back out to a guy in the three. It always felt like the ball moved so fast that whoever ended up with it at the last second would either get a wide open shot or would be able to penetrate and find someone else an even more wide open shot. It all sounds so simple, but watching these guys do it for the entire month of March was really impressive. Really, really impressive. Good shots, consistent shot making. I felt like everybody was a threat on the floor the entire game. And I don't even know if that's true or not. I didn't follow them that in depth, but the games I saw in the tournaments, it felt like everyone out there was an all-star. Everyone out there can hit this three. Everyone out there can put the ball on the floor, and everyone out there is looking to score.
I I'm just trying to think about it, and there's a you and I, I was out in California, so we were hanging out. And we watched a lot of games together. I'm trying to picture watching Villanova, but I'm having trouble, and I think it's because, like we said, they were so dominant. They were blowing out these teams that you would just naturally switch over to the other TV. It's like, oh, well, Villanova's up by 20. All right, don't really need to focus on that. It hasn't been until these past couple of games that I've really been focused and kind of watching them, with all my main focus.
I think the other thing that's deceiving early in the rounds, whenever you see a blowout, you kind of just assume, oh, well, the lower ranked team was overranked or clearly isn't just at that level. They
They're
must
just
be outside.
undersized or not athletic
Yeah,
enough.
which is fine until you get to the Elite Eight or even once you get to the Final Four and things like that. Now it's like, oh, whoa, hold on. You guys are really good because now I don't you. It's cool that you did that to the smaller school, but now you're playing one of the blue bloods, one of the big dogs here, and you're still dominating and still playing the same way, and nobody seems to have some answer of slowing you down. And that's where the flag goes up. Like, hey, hold on, these guys are good. This is a dominant team.
Yeah. This is no longer a joke. This is for real.
So big shout out to them. We also have NBA going on right now. Lots of stuff going on that. We got a great deal for League Pass fourth quarter, or maybe not so great. It depends on who you are. We have ESPN offering another streaming service that somehow doesn't include ESPN, and we have LeBron James spending $1.5 million every year. I imagine at least every year as he's had the money to do this on his nutrition and training. So let's kick off. Let's talk about that right now. LeBron is on a tear right now. I don't know. I don't know how he's capable of doing this. It was about dominant. His
in his
numbers
15th year.
unbelievable, unbelievable. The consistency and the amount of stats he's doing, and just the way he plays so hard every game. He's always the guy. He is
He
never.
hasn't missed a game this year.
It's crazy. So if you went, if I wrote down some statistics for you, and it was James Harden statistics and LeBron stats, and I didn't tell you the numbers, I guess I could have just done this on air, but I imagine you already know this and probably have seen this. If you look at their numbers head to head, these are the two MVP candidates, at least in my book, for this year. It's either Harden or it's LeBron. Harden's numbers aren't as good. They're good in a couple categories. LeBron's are better across the board. And Harden's missed a lot more games than LeBron. That seems like an
How many games
easier.
is Harden? Oh, right, yeah, Harden. Yeah, that's right. Harden got
Yeah,
hurt.
Harden got hurt for I want to say like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, something like that. So he
Yep.
missed some games, and his team didn't slow down at all. Chris Paul carried that torch, and they kept rolling. They are still are rolling. They're a good team too. But LeBron has had to deal with Kevin Love going out, Isaiah Thomas being traded, new guys coming in. His coach is now not even there. He doesn't even have a coach right now. I think I don't know. Am I the only one adding this up and being like, this guy's amazing? This is what $1.5 million in hyperbaric chambers, nutritionists, personal trainers, all that stuff. That's what this gets you, and it's amazing. And it should be an MVP season, if you ask me.
So you would give LeBron the MVP right
I
now?
really would. I really would. I would even if they finish the 4 seed. I don't care. I just know if you put anyone else in the situation he's been in, I'm not going to even count the past year, but it's just this year because this is the year for the MVP. There's nobody else that could do this. There's no one, and I would love to see someone else try. I wish we could just have this hypothetical answered right now, and it was as simple as playing NBA Live right now, and I could just swap the two and just see what happened. But it'll never be that easy. So we can only imagine. But I just imagine it going really poorly for anyone else with all that going on. I couldn't imagine anyone else handling the controversy quite as smoothly as LeBron does.
Uh, I agree with all the nice things you're saying about him, but and I know Harden missed some games, but I'm a guy that the MVP is and everyone kind of has a different had different criteria, but it's the best player on the best team, and
What about last year?
it hasn't always been the case like last year. That's what I said, and I didn't think that Westbrook was the MVP last year. Uh, so I got to go with Harden. His team has 15 more wins, 15 less losses than the Cavs do. LeBron's been putting up some great numbers, but I mean they're third in the East right now and could easily be the fourth.
So the real frustrating
If they're
thing,
not careful, they could fall to the fifth. They might. There is in the realm of possibility that they don't have a home playoff series.
I think it's a realistic possibility. I do expect a run right now, kind of at the end. I expect them to make a push. I don't think they'll get the top seed, but I don't think they'll finish as low as 5. They can only get better. I think they finish the year out strong. I don't see them struggling the way they have. This is going to click at some point, and playoff mode is going to be we win every game from here on out because it's playoff mode. They started soon.
Because we have LeBron and you guys don't.
Yeah. Now the unfortunate thing, and something that I find very interesting, is so James Harden now 2 years in a row has a very justifiable MVP season, and he got robbed last year by a historic superhuman triple double machine in Russell Westbrook, which you don't expect to ever run into again until LeBron kind of has the same season this year. So I'm only basing it on what's happened recently, and the recent MVP was an MVP type like LeBron right now. I think that's how the voting worked. That's who they gave it to. And it seems so unfair because we both, I think, would agree James Harden's justified to win last year and still has a case to win this year. And he might not win it either of these years. Like, how confident do you feel in him winning it right now? Do you think he's going to get robbed again?
I feel pretty confident.
You feel pretty good?
I mean, you bring up LeBron's numbers, but I mean, if you were to look at Anthony Davis's numbers, I'm sure they got to be in the realm that LeBron's are, and you said like LeBron lost Kevin Love, lost this. Anthony Davis lost Boogie Cousins, so you kind of have that sort of argument. But I think that
I think the
partially because of last year, it's almost like, ooh, you know what? He was right there. He easily could have been the MVP, and part of it is LeBron's already got a bunch of them. If you're equal, it goes to the guy that should have had it last year, definitely deserved it this year. And I'm at least from NBA Twitter and the people that I'm following, it's like he's got that wrapped up.
it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, and I'm excited just to watch. The one difference I would say between LeBron and Anthony Davis and other people putting up crazy good numbers, Jokic and Giannis and all these guys putting up these crazy numbers, once we get into the playoffs, LeBron's the only guy you're really going to be scared of in the first round. So where he finishes doesn't really matter. And that's kind of an unfair weight that LeBron's always going to have that's going to lean towards him in the MVP voting. He's going to have that advantage every time. I don't think guys are going to be as scared to play Anthony Davis in the first round as they will be to play LeBron. Like so once I think if LeBron has Westbrook numbers and he gets that sort of weight in that favor, that's going to tip the scale, or at least it should, for an MVP. In my book, in my book, I don't know if it's going to play out that way, but that's who I would give it to. Now it also
I agree with what you're saying, but the MVP isn't necessarily who's the scariest guy to face in a round. But
it
I do
seems so
agree that yes,
it's
I
so
do agree with
undefined.
your. I agree with the statement of once the playoff starts, I don't want to play LeBron.
Yeah, but I'm not saying you'll gladly play Anthony Davis, right? I'll take Anthony Davis. I'll take
I would
Giannis in the
prefer.
first round.
Yeah, I would prefer. Yes, I would prefer to play that team. I'd prefer to play the Pelicans than to play the Cavs, just because I think having LeBron, despite all the defensive lapses, it's just I know, and they're probably going to struggle on defense, but just the playoffs are just different, and they have LeBron, and he can just get buckets, and he's just been unreal.
You have any comments on the 1.5 million in his nutrition and training?
Uh, well, I was a little interested in that. LeBron makes around like 33 million a year, and so 1.5 million that comes out to roughly rough math is about 5% of his income. So I think if you kind of do it that way, it doesn't seem like that much. And actually, that's not even true. That's 5% of his basketball salary. That's not endorsements, anything else. So, and like this is the way that he makes money. So this is a business expense. He can probably tax season's happening right
Probably
around the
write that off.
corner. You could probably write that off. So um,
If anything, it makes
I'm
sense to do
not.
it for tax purposes. He's like, well, I could either give this money back or I could spend it on ridiculous, excessive, required, and obviously used necessities here.
So here's so trying to make this for a regular person. Say you were making $50,000 a year. 5% of that per month would be a little over $200 a month. And that to me that doesn't sound that crazy. It's
How
definitely
many
a
other
high
guys are doing
expense,
this?
but like my job doesn't require me to be in peak physical condition. But like $200 a month, I mean, you spend say you spend $50 at the gym, a month. That kind of narrows it down. It just seems like it that 1.5 million a year all like jumps way out at you. But if you kind of
Okay, all
change
right.
it a little bit, I
So
think that it makes it
so
it, ma- it makes it not seem as crazy.
let me ask you this. I don't mean this to be offensive, but I don't think you're the LeBron James in your industry. But if you could spend two
Oh no,
hundred
not at
dollars,
all.
but if you could spend $200 a month to become or maintain a LeBron James status in your industry, would you do it?
Oh, for sure.
It's a no brainer, right? Like if I'm LeBron, if this is what it takes, and I get to be like this forever, I'm gonna do it.
And this
This is easy, right? Once you figured out
and
the
it leads
formula and you know how much it costs, you just need to maintain that. And
and it just it
I would
leads
spend more
to
money if I
more
had to.
opportunities, and you can make more money, and you're in better shape. Uh and then just not sure, it says this is for his health. Like how wide does that go? Does that mean like just the groceries he buys? because that's an easy one. Okay, you spend $50 at the gym, you spend $50 on groceries. Now we're already halfway through, to that. We haven't even talked about like supplements or anything like even kind of out of the ordinary.
Anyways, speaking of watching basketball, it looks like you're going to have two new ways to watch basketball. You have the League Pass fourth quarter deal, and you're going to have ESPN Plus. Zach, you want to tell the people about the League Pass fourth quarter deal?
Sure. So the NBA is testing out. It's called they're calling it micropayments. And so what it was a test program where the fourth quarter would happen. They'd send out alerts and say, "Hey, the Bucks Cavs game's really close. It's going into the fourth quarter. Here's the link. You can pay 99 cents to watch the end of the game." This hasn't been done before. At this point, I think you can. I think it's still you can only get League Pass, and you can only get all the teams, right?
So if they're on national TV, it doesn't work. I know that.
You don't get them.
You don't get those. You don't get the TNT games, the ESPN games, the NBA TV game, which is the most frustrating one because
Yep.
that's not included in most standard cable packages. So that has to be purchased on its own as well. But you will essentially have access to all of your teams. You could subscribe to all of them, yeah, if you wanted to. I don't know how much it is, but I know it costs a lot more. I like the idea of being able to tune in for a close game if I want to. I'm not going to watch every single game. I don't have time for that, but I may watch the end of one if they're telling me, like, hey, you want to get your money's worth out of this? Watch this game. It's ready to roll right now.
Exactly. I really like the idea. I think that $1 seems pretty worthwhile, like you said. Uh, you're busy, but you get that alert, and either you're hanging out, you're not doing anything. You're like, oh, I was interested in that game, and oh yeah, I'll easily pay $1 for what half an hour, maybe 20 minutes of excitement. The only concern I had was if they were going to do something goofy like where the NFL does, where you can only watch it on your phone, and they make it so you can't mirrorcast your phone, you can't Chromecast your phone, because that would be annoying.
Well, I would. Couldn't you just? I guess yeah. I guess if that's how they're gonna do it, if it's gonna be a mobile app purchase, I would just wonder what if you bought it through like a PlayStation or another different
And
device.
that's what I would just hope, because this was still kind of a test run, and so I would think they debut it next year, right off the bat. Uh, I just hope that they keep that in mind of just making it as accessible as possible.
I like it. All right, whatever gives you, and I it's got to work too. This is the other frustrating thing is I've
Yeah,
had League Pass in previous trials and other free promos they've given me, and when it works, it's the greatest thing ever. It's awesome. It's right there. It loads, nice quality, no ads, nothing, ready to roll. But when it doesn't work, and now I'm either paying or I'm on a trial run, and I have other what I'll say methods of finding the game, some less ethical than others, and those just run and start right up, no problem. I got a hard time, saying like, why would I ever pay for this? I have other options. Now, those other options comes with risks and other things like that, and consistency isn't always the easiest thing to find on the internet. But the app's got to work. This has to work. If I'm gonna, especially if I'm gonna pay the dollar and to watch the end of the game, I don't have time to mess with it because the
you
game's gonna
don't.
run
Yeah,
out. It's gonna be in.
exactly. That's exactly what I was just gonna say. Is especially when it's just the fourth quarter, you don't have 10 minutes to mess around and try to reload and try to restart and try to call a help number. But yeah, by the time you get that, the game's over. So yeah,
So
has to work right away.
So speaking of sports streaming, ESPN just launched their ESPN Plus streaming services. Now
They
I'm
announced it.
announced it. It is not available. Now the one headline I'm seeing all over this streaming service is that ESPN Plus is not going to include ESPN. Did I read that correctly?
You are correct.
All right, Zach. Well, what is this going to include?
So to this is gonna be they're launching it. Um, it's gonna be $5 a month, but as you said, it doesn't really include ESPN. Basically, what it includes is if you have the Watch ESPN app and you have it linked up to your cable, You know how at the top it's got ESPN, ESPN2, and that's always what you majority of the time what you click on, and that's what's playing the NBA games, that's what's playing Monday Night Football, all that good stuff. But you know how you can like scroll down and there's other stuff, and I don't know if other people do this, but
Yeah,
Saturday morning I wake up and it's like I don't need to watch Sports Center. I know all the scores of all the games or anything, but like, oh, there's a rugby game on. Okay, I'll throw that on in the background. It seems to be all that stuff will be on there. So there's going to be one MLB game a day. There'll be one NHL game during the hockey season. There's a selection of boxing matches. You will get every out of market MLS game. So if you're big into soccer, this could help. There's going to be college sports from, listen to these conferences, the American East. Well, that's where UMBC was from. You could have watched that. The American Sun, the Big South, the Big West, the Horizon. You're not seeing the SEC. You're not seeing the ACC. You're not seeing the Big Ten. You're not seeing that. There's going to be some PGA Tour coverage. There'll be some tennis coverage, and there's going to be rugby and cricket coverage. So
this seems so bizarre to me. I wonder who the people are that are watching this to begin with. And I also,
what it seems like is
who's this
it's like you
targeting?
said, like you don't have actual ESPN on there, so it's not so much a cord cutting option. It almost seems like, hey, you know what? I have ESPN, but I'd really like some more of these obscure sports, which I just don't know if there's a lot of people looking for that.
Look, I'd pay $5 for the Ocho, but I'm not paying $5 for one MLB game that may or may not be a team I want, or one NHL game that may or may not be the team I want. Because chances are,
Yeah,
if you follow those sports, you follow a team, and you want to have access to that team. I don't think there's a casual fan that's like, oh, I kind of like baseball. I'd love to have like one game a day. No, no, no. There's no
yeah, and
casual
like you
fan
said,
that
it's
who's
probably
not a.
pretty random.
There's not one casual fan who's a fan of just baseball. There, you got to be a fan of a team. I don't know. I don't see where this is gonna work. I don't see where they're gonna. There's gonna be some point, sometime where I'm like, God damn, I have to pay this $4.99 or whatever for this one game. But for now, I
Um,
I don't see the quite the appeal on it.
I don't either. My hope is that this is not the final product. This is more of a stepping stone of you can test some stuff out, you can get your video player, find out if that works, and more of a okay, we have this, then the next rung in the ladder is okay, you
Um,
can get all the stuff you want, all your regular ESPN, and here's the cost.
the one and only plus to all of this, and I probably shouldn't even use the word plus, positive to this is ESPN is consistent and it does work. I'd say it's one of the better, if not the best, sports streaming app that we have right now. It works better than anything else, especially with the Chromecast, especially just straight onto the phone screen or tablet screen or whatever else you have. Runs right up. I don't really have any problems with it, especially with the amount of options you have at the bottom there. It's always easier for me. It is delayed now. That I see becoming more and more of an issue. I've gotten, I don't know. Sometimes I get really far behind on that Chromecast stuff, and I'll get text alerts of like, "Hey, tune into this close game," and it's already like 5 minutes left, and what I'm watching has like 8 minutes left.
Yeah, that's definitely annoying. I was having that trouble with the March Madness app.
Speaking, actually, I'm glad you brought up March Madness app right now. Everyone's watching the game yesterday, right? Big game. Everyone's excited for this championship game. What channel did you watch it on?
I watched it on TBS. I watched the I'm gonna call it the traditional broadcast. It wasn't one of the team
All
because
right.
I didn't have a team.
All right, TBS is great, and so is TNT, and so is True TV. Those are all awesome channels. But the one channel I know everybody in the country gets for free is CBS. And I don't know what the numbers say. I don't know if they got more views by splitting this all up, by putting I'll say, the national, like the normal one on TBS and the Michigan one on TNT, with the Michigan reporters and the Michigan fans and the Michigan all of that, and then the Villanova one was True TV. How did CBS not get any playtime in all of this? Like, what was airing on CBS during a regular scheduling on Monday that they couldn't put it on that? Because I kind of got a problem with
It,
this
it
because you can
seems
get it on any basic cable CBS. You can get it with an antenna on CBS. You can't get TBS on an antenna. You can't get TNT on that. You can't get True TV on that. And yes, you have the app
it,
that works, but it's not as easy as just having it on
but you also have
CBS.
to connect to your cable using the app.
Also true. So
Uh, it seemed like a calculated move. I don't think it was, oh, we have this on Mondays, and so we can't bump that for the championship because you know when the championship is, and you could prepare accordingly. I think it had to do. It was some sort of strategic move, and it did seem odd because it seems like CBS is your main one. That's where you have football. That's where everything is, and
see
rather
that's
they put
where
it
I'm
on.
I'm
They,
coming
they
from
there's
that
stuff on True
background.
TV.
I'm coming from the football background right now of football. The Super Bowl is one of the most watched events, and so is all of March Madness. And this tournament is really, really watched by a whole lot of teams. And you may or may not have had a team in this, but I'm willing to bet everyone that filled out a bracket had some sort of interest in this. And this felt like a deterrent to me, unless you're one of the diehard fans, which is what they cater to perfectly. But I think for the casual fan, they probably lost some people on this TBS, right? They had to have.
I would think so because that's basic cable, and like you said, CBS is you can get it with an antenna, and you don't necessarily need cable.
Very,
So
very
yeah, I
interesting,
agree with you.
fascinating move. And I saw a bunch of people online on Facebook kind of complaining about it after, as the app had some problems this past weekend. The Final Four and the finals, it did not run as smooth. But apparently, when they had like 64 teams playing, I had no problems with it at all. I don't know where they
Yeah,
went wrong
which
with
is
that.
yeah, that's definitely odd because yeah, I once in a while I had a problem with it, and then yeah, you're right. In the past weekend, I I just had such a trouble with it. When I was watching the Duke game, I was at the under 4 minute timeout, and I had someone text me like, "Oh, we got overtime, just like I was hoping for," and it was like, "Wait, what? What?"
Oh
And I
man,
immediately changed it to regular TV and saw the Grayson Allen highlight where it was like I'd missed like a huge important chunk of the game, which to be fair, it didn't die on me. It was still playing. I have no idea how I fell behind by so much, but last night it just kept kicking me off, and it got to the point where it wasn't watchable. I watched the second half in regular definition on the regular TV, regular cable.
very, very fascinating move. I'm sure they had their reasons for it. I just couldn't figure it out outside looking in. But speaking of TV apps and TV technology, have you heard of this app called, was it Tunity, where it scans the
Yes,
TV and gives
Unity.
you the audio? I see uses for this. This may sound like something nobody has any interest in, but I see value in this. So am I saying this correctly? The idea is something's on the TV, you can't hear it, and you scan it with your phone, and it plays the audio through your phone then?
Yes.
Okay, so late at night, I don't want to play loud TV sounds. I want to just play it right into my headphones because I have roommates and I care about them. Is this the solution now?
It sure sounds that way, and it's funny because I didn't even see anywhere that advertised to be used that way. Uh, and I didn't even think to use it that way, but I would think that would work. That would work. It would work that way. They were advertising more. You're at the gym or you're at the bar in more of a noisy area. But you're right. That would actually be good for. Hey, you just would rather have just headphones on, and I don't think there's really a good way right now to get from your TV. That'd be a long aux cord to get all the way to headphones.
I have that 25-foot aux cord, and I do this exactly because I like hearing the problem with movies and a lot of shows and especially commercials. The volume levels, we've talked about this before, are all
All over the
over the
place.
place. So there'll be times where a big explosion goes off and I'll wake up the entire house, the dog will start barking, all that stuff will go off. And then there'll be times where I'm like, I can't even hear what are they saying? Why are you
I can't hear
whispering?
the dialogue.
Speak up, With headphones, you never have that problem. There will be times where I may be falling asleep, and now I'm very awake. But I'll take that. I'll take that over the consequences of everything else in the house and the apartment and all that. So I like it for that. I like it for at the bar, sometimes I have the main game playing on the loudspeaker or music playing on the speaker, and you just want to hear the broadcast. That's good, especially if an injury or if you can't figure out what is going on and there's no sound on it, and you need to figure out what someone said or how they got thrown out. I see a solution for that. Now, is this a free app or is this going to be a? I imagine there's got to be some sort of premium part to it.
It seems like right now that it's free. I don't know what the later
Um,
premium would be. It sounds like they it doesn't work for all channels, but they have it for up to 100 channels right now. So that's a lot of channels.
Now, is it only
And they're
channels
working on
or
getting
does it work
getting more.
for Netflix or Hulu or other streaming
No,
movies?
it just works for TV right now. So it just works for cable TV right now.
All right. Well, I'm very curious to try that out, and I am going to try that out. I see, like I said, that seems like an answer for me. That's something that I could use every day. Every day, this could be helpful to me. Now, whether it matches up the audio well or not, that's where I'll have a problem. Because I promise you,
It
if this thing's off by the slightest second, it is gonna bother me. I don't. There's
Well,
nothing worse than the lips.
one of the features that it has is it says that there's a sliding scale. So when you scan the TV, it starts it up, but then you have some adjustment. You have a little bit of play, so it should help with that. Because I know exactly what you're talking about. It's only the slightest little bit, but for whatever reason, it just
It
it's like a
ruins it.
stupid
It
brain thing, and
ruins
yeah,
everything. I can't
you
focus
wouldn't think it
anymore.
would, but it really does. I'd rather listen to it on mute than have it be not lined up.
Well, because
But
you're becoming a lip
if
reader.
you're watching if you're watching a sporting event,
Not as
you're
irrelevant. Not as
it's
important.
not as important because if it's off by a little bit, uh, you can't really see the voices or you can't see the mouths making the voices.
Very very cool app, and that's a free app. It's called
Yeah, you'll have
Tunity.
to you'll have to try that out and get back to us and
I
see
I
see
will I
if
will
it
give it a
works.
try. Speaking of getting back to people, we have an update on the robot burger flipping machine that is cranking out somewhat like 300 burgers a minute or whatever. I don't remember what it is, but we have an update. Is this a good update or is this the crashed and burned update? What do we have here?
Well, it's funny that you say is this a good update or a bad update because I had heard through a different podcast. I hadn't heard the initial like we did. I just heard like, hey, there's this burger thing, and now and there was two different headlines. One was more of a positive of, hey, it's taking a break. The other one was more negative, saying like it's shut down. Pretty much what happened was, depending on kind of who you talk to, like you you don't need to flip that many burgers. Like it's
Did they
like
fight?
the turnover is just it's just too high, and so they kind of need it's like great you can make a crazy amount of burgers in an hour, but we really only need 20 burgers.
they
So
they
it seemed like
fired
that
an
was kind of the
overachieving machine essentially.
it kind of sounds that way. I guess it was really good for business because people wanted to come in and to see it. Uh, so it definitely got people in the door. I don't know how long that would last for, but it's still there. It didn't break. It was nothing like that. But
It's so
they're
funny.
still not sure if it's worthwhile or not.
What's funny. This is like somebody got really good at their job, and they said, "Hey, we got to fire you because we can't afford to give you a raise or anything. So you gotta go." They just got rid of
Yeah.
this machine essentially. You're an overachiever. We can't afford with the cost of keeping you here. Good luck on your endeavors, man. I'll give you a good recommendation on your resume. uh, I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder what is the future for this robot flipping burger here. What is there somewhere that'll consistently need that? Like, is there an amusement park or a stadium somewhere that could like actually
That's
utilize
what I'm
this?
thinking. Somewhere, yeah, that's where it's got to be. It's got to be at some sort of place where it's really high volume.
Very very fascinating. But yes, so not only if you haven't heard the previous story, there's a robot that flips burgers. So sorry if we didn't really
Called
cover that.
Flippy.
Called what is it called?
Called Flippy.
Called Flippy, and that's the only way 2018 could be 2018. But 2018 is bringing back some things of the past. It's not only are there burger flipping things of the future, but there are new shows of old shows. And what I mean by that is Roseanne is back. And Roseanne is hot right now. Man, what do they get? 18 million viewers on their premiere. I haven't. Have you seen
Yes,
Roseanne?
it was right around there.
I
Which just to give I obviously don't know these numbers off the top of my head, but when I did a little bit of research, uh that's right around what NBC for Sunday Night Football. That's the kind of numbers that it pulls in. This this premiere got more views than the finale, which is super impressive because pretty much across the board people are watching, oh, maybe not watching less TV, but we're collectively watching less of the same TV just because there's so many options. So this was definitely a big surprise. No one else comes close to competing with football.
I've seen. I won't call myself a Roseanne expert. Have I seen an episode of Roseanne? Yeah, I've seen it before. I'm a little bit familiar with it. I did not tune in for the live action, but the amount of people that have interested have now made me interested. And now that I'm sharing it with the podcast, I've done nothing but spread this. So, uh, go watch Roseanne and join the rest of us. Be a follower. Are
Ooh,
you
ooh, I was going the other way with that.
you're going the other way with that? So let me ask you this: if
I don't know,
you're
maybe the other way, but this is just a concern to me of there's just so many options for television, and with an old show being re-brought back, I feel like there's already so many retreads and sequels and just trying to redo stuff that's already been done. With this success, it's only just going to push that even more to the forefront of just trying to bring back old shows rather than trying to create something new and cool.
is that the future? Is that really what it is though? Do we just come up with like the thing is with Roseanne, Roseanne must have ended in a completely different era that to the point the world we live in today is very different than the world where this show ended.
Agreed.
And that I think that's where this becomes like, hey, you know that this plot and this storyline is still really good. It's just the chemistry kind of got played out for this era. But if we take these guys, we move them to another era, like basically, look at Archer right now, right? They've just said, all right, we're just gonna put the same money scenario in a different time frame or in a different kind of era, and it's still gonna work. It's just gonna be these same characters being themselves at a different time, and it works. It's just as entertaining. But this has happened now in real life, like in the cartoon world. That's easy to do. This has happened in real life now, where they've taken this crew and popped them in 2018. I think it's
Yeah, I
interesting.
mean the show's been off the air for 20 years.
That's a long time. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Cell phones are around like that. The things like that, I think, will either carry these rebuilds or in these spin-offs and these brought back shows, or it's going to destroy it. It's going to be like with this would never work. Like you couldn't bring back The Wire, could you? Or is that like the perfect example? I can't
Well,
decide.
that's my concern is you shouldn't. The Wire was created, it was awesome. Go create something new. Don't create the Wire Plus. Go create something awesome that's new and
you
that is just a totally different thing. Don't that's my concern is that
you
we
you
won't get anything new. It'll just be like, oh well, let's try to make a new Terminator TV show. That was really popular
wait
in
wait.
the
Are
in
you
the
sure?
80s.
Are you sure you don't want to see Stringer Bell doing Bitcoin and everyone like trying to like follow that?
Stringer,
That's that
spoiler alert:
that
Stringer Bell got. He was a snake and he got.
I'm just saying that's the example right there. This is what I imagine as The Wire in 2018. They'd be like, "Yeah, we're mining this Bitcoin. We got like 500 desktops in here. Make don't let the cops
Oh
know
man,
or something along the lines like that."
I love that. I love that idea, but it doesn't need to be framed with the Wire. You could do your own thing.
See, that's way too good of an idea
The
to come
Wire
off the
doesn't
top.
make any sense. They
It
probably
does.
don't even use wires anymore. There's
No,
no
they don't.
wires. It's all
That
they
that's
call
the
it something else
that's the
different.
struggle with rewatching that show right now. Is the very first episode at the
Oh,
very first
dated.
beginning that they're talking about typewriters and now they don't want to type up reports. They want to do it by hand. And that's like the immediate red flag of being like, all right, I'm unrelated. I can't relate to any of this. I have no idea how to connect what's going on to this era. I don't know what that life was like. Uh,
Yeah,
but I don't
definitely
know. We'll,
dated.
we'll
But
see. So you're not against this. You're kind of against this Roseanne comeback, and
Yeah, just because it's just like I said, I don't want this to just open the door for just a bunch of remakes. Just
Well, but
just nostalgia.
The Office could have so many spin-offs though. The the Strangler is the perfect example. That's a true
Well,
reality.
see, a spin-off is a little bit different. Like if you're gonna spin off, like that's like okay, I feel like that's a little bit different than just bringing the show back. And yeah, if
All right, so this is how I
there's already
imagine
a
this is how this happened. All right, they said we'll do a spin-off, but we want to have like the original characters featured in on all this. And they probably called all those original characters and every one of them was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll do it." And then they wait, hold on, we got all of them? Everybody said they'd do this? All right, well, why don't we just do that? Why were we going to even bother doing something else? We'll just take the formula we already know and do it in 2018. That's how this I imagine that's
I
how we
can
got to where we
completely
got.
understand how I can completely understand how it happens. I just don't. I'm just concerned about the consequences.
Oh man. So what show are you most scared about coming back? Like, what was the one show you couldn't stand that is you had enough of a following that it might come back?
I'm not sure that there's any shows that I dislike that much. Just because if I don't like it, I just don't watch it. I'd be more concerned about them trying to do something like bring The Wire back and just absolutely butcher it.
Yeah, that would
Like
be
bring back The Sopranos
well.
with like
You
without
you couldn't do it without that guy.
yeah
You couldn't do it without
exactly. But all of a sudden, someone's just like, hey, I got a way to make money. I don't really care about what happens. I don't care about the legacy, and then you run into this problem.
Look, the only thing I'll say about all that is The Sopranos followed how many Grandfather and Goodfellas trilogy movies and all that. They made their own route.
But
Like you said, if
that's
somebody can
a
if somebody
but
can
that's
do
a
that,
genre. I would say that's different. Where that's a it's gangster. It's a genre, and so you're doing your own thing. They didn't say, hey, we're gonna make a Goodfellas TV show. I don't think.
we don't need that. We don't want that. I don't, we don't want that. All right, well,
No, because you should get new cool stuff. There's new ideas out there.
all right. So speaking of
I refuse to
new
believe that we're out of ideas.
new ideas and someone being completely out of ideas, Sports Illustrated is now for sale. And this shouldn't surprise anybody, but it will surprise me whoever pays a ridiculous amount of money to acquire this. And they're purely buying the name, I imagine, and changing. They're gonna have to do a complete 180 flip. This has got. I don't know. When was the last time you had a Sports Illustrated that you when you weren't a kid?
I ran across the swimsuit issue a few months ago.
Okay, see that I get, but that's only one episode. That's one magazine. That's only one. The only way this place is gonna be
And
making
that's not even
money.
and that's not even really like the Sports Illustrated. Like that's not even like their main.
Yeah. So the one thing that makes you money, I imagine that makes you money, only comes out once a year and isn't even related to what you normally do.
It's I just don't know where you go from here. I mean, the name. Everybody's heard of Sports Illustrated. If you can get
The kids
good
thing is big.
journalists,
The
you could
kids thing's nice.
definitely. But I mean, I think the Athletic is doing pretty well online, and they have a paywall. But I just feel like there's just so much content out there and so much free content. It's really you have to have you someone that's really good and already has a following to get people to pay for it.
It'd be challenging. I still think the Sports Illustrated for kids was a big part of my life and a big part of a lot of other people's lives, and
Yep,
that could
definitely.
become some sort of app or application or something that you could have for kids today that parents would enforce as being like, look, this is one of like the more positive things I did as a kid that I would love to pass on. So that's the only direction I would go, and even that I don't think that makes them money. That just keeps them alive, So I don't know.
Yeah, that's not a long-term solution.
Because there's going to be even less of those parents that'll recommend this to their kids, and even if the kids that do like it, that's not going to be enough people to carry it on for another generation. So you're dead in the water. Like this is a that's just a Hail Mary pass that may or may not work.
Yeah, I can easily see why they're selling it. Probably can get a good deal on it because you just I can't think of anything they have besides the magazine.
and even the kids thing isn't exactly what they really do. The kids thing, I was in it for like some weird stats and interviews, and then the trading cards were always cool. But now if you're making an app, you
They had the posters in there. The
yeah, the
posters were
posters are
cool.
cool. And then once you get rid of the posters though, and the actual physical trading cards, that's not really it's not really cool anymore. um,
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see what direction that goes and who buys it. Is it you know is it just another newspaper that buys them up, or how exactly that works?
Now, would it make sense for somebody like The Ringer or the Bleacher Report or even Barstool to purchase this and keep the name and just add it as like a supplementary thing? Like I could see Barstool making that swimsuit thing what it used to be again. Or I could see even The Ringer making it into a kids thing that would be for like really interesting for kids.
The only thing I could think of is if like Barstool and the Ringer, like all the ones that you just named, their whole thing is they kind of are Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, they
They're
beat them at their own game.
but rather than like a magazine, they're like what today's magazine is you don't get it sent in the mail, once a month or every other week or however often they sent it. It's they put articles up every day, and you go and you read it, and there's advertisements, and you read the advertisements. And so I don't know why they would want to buy that. Like they already have their own brand.
I'm just pure nostalgia because every one of those guys grew up with Sports Illustrated.
Grew up on. Oh yeah, for sure.
Every one of those guys we just named, Sports Illustrated played some part in their life and helped them get to wherever they are right now. Now that doesn't make it a good business decision, but a lot of these guys
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
a lot of these guys got a lot of money to make some bad decisions, and this could be one of them. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we're going to wrap the show up. We got just about 3 minutes left in the show. Thank you for always as listening. You're listening to a Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by Will Limonos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. Make sure you check out the website, lcalcb.wordpress.com. Also check out Sold by Will for all your San Diego real estate needs. And be sure to keep up to date with all of Zach's tweets and his Twitter talk at
Wicked Z-Man 24.
Really fun to be back and doing the podcast again. I'll be honest, a little pre-run we kind of did here. It'd been a little bit. It's been some time, but I think we can still do this. It's just talking. That's all it is.
I still got it.
Yeah, not too bad. It's good that you have a voice back too, because that was another thing that kind of held us up a little bit.
Yeah, got a little sick. But I'm feeling better now, and we were able to sneak it in. And we were able to catch up on the all the March Madness.
Also, I have another update so my plan is if I lost this March Madness bet and had to wear the short shorts, I said, you know what, no problem. I have short shorts. I did cross country in high school. I'm pretty sure I got to keep the uniform, and my mom's got like this box of like old high school stuff or whatever saved somewhere for no reason other than for this reason. And my parents are coming to visit tonight, right? They're coming here tonight, and I asked them, like, hey, can you bring these shorts? She was like, I don't even know if I'll be able to find them. I said, well, just go look. I'm pretty sure it's in this spot in the closet. Look in this drawer or whatever. It's got to be there. I remember it being there. She did not find them. So
was she able to find the box of the other stuff?
No. There was no way to find. There's no shorts. There's the jersey. There's no shorts. So the tank top does me no good. So the tables have turned now. The punishment was originally, you have to acquire these shorts somehow. So now I'm back in that boat of having to acquire these short shorts some other way. I had a plan, and there it goes.
Do you think that your parents really couldn't find them, or do you think that they were thinking that this would save you and that this was part of the bet and that these shorts not existing would get you out of the bet?
So we're doing a family vacation. We're leaving for Hawaii on Thursday. My mom said, I'm not letting you shave your legs before the Hawaii trip, or I'm not taking you. So we weren't.
Oh, there we go. Thanks, Mom.
So the bet is she's fine with that, and it's just more of like you're not going to be this guy on the family vacation that we're taking pictures with your shaved legs. And no. Not going to do that. So that's going to be on hold. So it'll be once the courts are repaired and we're ready to go and I can get my basketball group all back together out here, the short kickoff will happen. There'll be pictures, maybe a video, and hopefully a brand new court that we will be really lucky to play on. But that's about it for us. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I got one last thing. So I took first place. So I get the winnings, but I already get to be a guest on the podcast. You're lucky, or you're nice enough to give me a shot every time we do this. But we're looking for the names Deacon Barnes and Du Bois. The owner's Andy. Your email is private, so we sent an email out to everybody in the group, letting you know if you want to be a guest on the podcast, or if you want to throw a topic out for Will and I to talk about. Reach out to us. Get at me on Twitter. Get to the Will's email. Any way you want to get a hold of us, if you have any interest there.
Yep, let us know. We'll be here at your time or at your convenience. Make sure you email lcalcb@yahoo.com. We'll get right back to you. Just let us know. Just let us know what you want. It seemed unfair to give the everything to Zach, so just let us know. If you want to be on the show, we'll have you on. No problem. Thank you for everyone that signed up and joined.
Also, one last shout out there. Shout out to your sister, Alicia. My sister won last year. She took third, but had the most correct picks.
Wow.
So just want to give a shout out there.
So Column A won that one. We'll be back next week. Thank you as always for listening.